do, I think, through the Children's Discovery Institute. That's what we're doing, and of course, we wouldn't have a prayer at even doing this without our wonderful partners at Washington University. So we created a partnership, and we called it the Children's Discovery Institute. And we assigned a board of trustees, we call them board of managers, but effectively they're trustees, of 14, 7 from the Children's Hospital, 7 from the university, who come together 4 times a year and oversee the direction and application of the funds that our Children's Hospital Foundation make available to us. And they are really in charge of maximizing the returns on your investment. And I'm happy tonight that several of our board managers, trustees are with us, and that's how formal and that's how we approach this. It's a very, very dedicated approach. We've actually created this organization, which is a 50-50 partnership between the Children's Hospital and Washington University. I want to direct your attention to this investor's report at your table there. This is hot off the press. You are the first to see this. We are going to be mailing this out shortly. And I want to use it to illustrate what we tried to do when we started the Discovery Institute back in 2006. Our first full year of funding was actually 2007. And so we're in now our 4th year. But we had 3 goals when we launched the Discovery Institute. Number 1 was to attract and retain some of the brightest minds in pediatric medicine to come to Children's Hospital in WashU and stay here. And we actually have a bias towards young minds. Now, I realize there's some investigators in the room tonight who may not consider themselves eligible, therefore, for CDI funding. They are, that's why they're here. But we really, one of our first goals was to really be a magnet for some of the brightest young minds. And probably the best way to illustrate our success at this in our first 4 years is if you turn to page 15. Down at the bottom, you'll see a category called Faculty Scholar Awards. And these are targeted at these young, very bright, talented investigators who are dedicating their careers to advancing the field of pediatric medicine. Megan Cooper, who's here tonight. Megan, you want to? Here she is. Todd Bruley's here tonight. Todd, if you would wave. Celeste Morley's here. Celeste. Turning the page at the top on page 16. Jenny Duncan, who couldn't join us tonight. Bob Balow, who couldn't join us tonight. Chris Gurnett, who also couldn't be here tonight. And Audrey Odom, who is here tonight. So these are 7 special designated scholar awards to accomplish this first goal, and we feel very good about the fact that we've done that in our first 4 years. Goal number 2 was to create a very productive, collaborative, interdisciplinary approach to research and discovery. And while Alan and I, who have been concocting all this early on after I got to Children's Hospital, had high expectations, I think even this exceeded our expectations. If you turn to page 3 to illustrate the collaborative nature of our Discovery Institute approach, down at the bottom it says Departments of Primary Investigators since the Institute's founding. 16 departments at Washington University are represented in this illustration at the bottom. 8 of those are clinical departments at the School of Medicine. 4 of those are basic science departments at the School of Medicine. And 4 of the departments are actually departments here on the Danforth campus. So we're reaching across Forest Park and tapping into the intellectual capital that's here. 2 of those up here are hard science departments, biology and chemistry, but 2 of them are technology departments. And you see those as biomedical engineering in the left column and computer science and engineering. So I think 16 departments in 4 years receiving funding from the Discovery Institute is a great example of how we believe we've gotten a great start in this collaborative approach. And I think even that's exceeded Alan and I's expectations. There's a great deal of enthusiasm and interest in what we're doing. Goal 3 was to accelerate the pace of discovery towards cures. And already in the 4 years, we've identified some targets for treatment and prevention of things like heart failure and respiratory distress syndrome, for birth defects of the bowel, club foot, and areas in the such as that. And so we're in malaria. Excuse, I didn't want to miss Audrey sitting here staring at me. Hello. And so again, I think great examples of how we feel we are accelerating that pace towards discovery and ultimately prevention and treatment. So the final note I'll make about how I believe as how successful we are stewarding your funds so far is the fact that we've given out about 60 plus awards worth about $19 million over these 4 years. And these investigators have already managed to be recipients of about $50+ million of external funding from agencies like the National Institute of Health and others. And another $25 million, which they've applied for and is pending. So I think a great example of an investment for you business folks in the room. Part of investments is leveraging your investment, your assets, and we think that that's a great example of how we're doing that. So without further ado, I want to turn it over to our esteemed Executive Director, Dr. Alan Schwartz, to give us his view of the state of the CDI and then to make the special introduction of a very new member of our Discovery Institute who you're going to meet for the first time tonight. So.